We're back. We're the Catholic Kids, and we're here to say we like Vietnam and the communist way. Hey, it's March 19th. It's National Anti-American Day. Yay! We're not making that up.
No, that's actually a thing.
I don't know if it's still celebrated here.
It might have been just that one day, but it was on a March 19th at the very least.
In
We're
Vietnam.
really proud to be here.
So, in order to celebrate, we're sending Jack back to the United States. No, we're really sad. Jack is headed back to Houston today.
Back to school.
But let's talk about all the cool things that we've done since that crazy night in Ha Long Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Ha Long Bay. Ha Long Bay. Ha Long Bay. Got on a plane to Ho Chi Minh. Woke up the next morning and headed out for, after our amazing included breakfast, headed out for our guided tour with our tour guide named Kung. We think that was his name. The main part of our day was spent at this place called the Coochie Tunnels. But on our way to the Coochie Tunnels, our tour guide knew that Glenn was very interested, and now I've become interested, and therefore Jack must attend, going to see local markets. And I fell asleep on the way to the Coochie Tunnels. And all of a sudden, we woke up, and the tour guide said, let's go. And we were on the side of a road.
I mean, we were the only gringos, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. And he didn't really know where he was going because he's never been to this market. And
I wouldn't even necessarily call it a market.
Yeah, a market's not.
I would say that we fell upon this town, and most of the people were selling food outside their homes.
Right. We were just kind of walking through, and we saw this house, and we saw something. We saw these like bamboo, I guess, drying boards. I don't really know how to describe them, and something drying on them. And so I asked him what this was, and he said it was rice paper. You know, like rice paper, like you make spring rolls in. And I was like, that's really awesome. And somehow, escalated quickly. We ended up in their house. The tour guide asked if we could go in their house because these little old ladies were making this rice paper.
It's really nice. They use the rice husks to fuel the fire that would boil this water that had like a silk screen on top that they would put rice flour on and like cover it. It'd steam into like. I guess they'd boil off the water from the rice flour. Or it'd steam, and they'd take it, just like 30 seconds, and then they put it on the drying rack.
They were making this rice paper that they would sell as just kind of an on-the-side job. It's something that they do in their free time to make a little extra dinero. I don't know. It was just so cool being in their home and seeing them do this.
So from there, we got back in the car, headed further out towards Coochie. So Coochie is this rural town in Ho Chi Minh City, outside of Saigon. So Coochie was famous for creating an underground tunnel system during the Vietnam War and also during the French Indochina War. So they are part of the Viet Cong. Even though they're in the south and, near Saigon, it was known as a place that really helped the Viet Cong during the Vietnam War take down a lot of American soldiers through various traps that we saw, and their guerrilla warfare really impacted American troops heavily in the South.
These people that built the tunnels of Viet Cong, they're not trained in any sort of way. They're very much farm people, uneducated. What they did is pretty outstanding, and the quote-unquote technology that they thought of, and the little things like building a way for smoke to escape when they needed to cook and needed to stay in a cooling chamber so it wouldn't rise too quickly so that people wouldn't see them above ground, and all the different traps that they made. I feel weird saying this, but they deserve to win.
They knew their land.
Yeah.
They truly had home field advantage.
Yeah. So you definitely see why it was so harrowing for an American soldier to not know where everything was coming from, or these pretty horrible traps that we saw that probably wouldn't kill you, but it would at least injure you and take you out and take some of your friends out trying to save you. I was surprised how small the tunnels were. We saw like a customary entrance size that was first demonstrated to us by like, Vietnamese like person working at the Cu Chi tunnels. And the girls were able to do it relatively fine. But, like, I was even with my arms like straight up, I still like scraped the sides of the entrance with my shoulders, my arms, and it was a pretty tight fit. And then crawling through it was very tough.
Yeah, the three of us went through part of the tunnel system, and, you know, a short little petite girl like me couldn't even, you know, I was going first, and this guy in front of me was scurrying. I mean, it was like a rat through a sewer. I mean, the guy was just, and I was like, had my GoPro on, I like kept on hitting my head on things. Then we took a quick trip to the firing range, where Jack shot a M16.
10 bullets out of an M16.
After our trip to Cu Chi tunnels, we drove back into Saigon, and then we had a quick turnaround, and we got ready for yet another tour that night, and we did Vietnam Vespa Adventures, Saigon by Night. A shout out to Mama Liebs for giving us a recommendation to do this tour. It was absolutely awesome, so thanks, Mama Liebs.
We wanted to do this to get more of a feel of the city, not just stay in District 1 where all the major sites are and where we've been staying.
Food is a good way to get to know a culture. This definitely had food, so I was excited about this, but I was pleasantly surprised that we did get out of District 1. We didn't eat banh mi, we didn't eat pho, we didn't eat all of the things you typically associate with like easy street food Vietnamese. Just kind of kept driving and like, eventually like, well, I guess we're out of District 1. Ended up at this seafood place in District 4. It seemed like pretty legit good seafood.
And, you know, we tried different foods like Jack mentioned. The first place we went in District 4 was the seafood, and we all had frog.
It's actually really good.
It was really tasty.
Louisiana roots right there.
That was fun, having seafood. We went to another place and got more food, this Vietnamese kind of pancake and some spring rolls.
So after we got meals at 2 different restaurants, small meals, don't worry.
It was time for dessert.
Yeah. So we went to this, I guess it'd be like in a bar, cafe.
Yeah, maybe over a cafe, yeah.
They had like a night of acoustic music.
This place, there was a violinist, a pianist, and like one of several singers. Like singers kind of rotated. It was a very quiet, it was very much like a music scene. And that was a lot of fun. Then after that we went to a rock bar. Very different vibe. Like there was smoking inside, there was like heavier music. But it was also fun. I was pleasantly surprised. I was very happy we did the tour.
Kind of the point of the tour of Saigon by Night was just to see what the city was like after dark and some of the nightlife, so we were excited that we got to do that.
Then the next day, we were responsible for touring and seeing the rest of the city on our own. And one of the main places that we really wanted to make sure that we hit up was the War Remnants Museum, which ended up being definitely the best museum that we've been to in Vietnam.
I would say that on our travels so far.
I was about to say, yeah.
I've never read like every placard of a museum.
The War Remnants Museum is essentially a French Indochina, mainly Vietnam War museum. This is the most non-biased one I've seen.
Or the least
non-American hating one.
Right.
It was more look at what happened to our people and to photographers and journalists, and especially the aftermath of the war, especially with Agent Orange.
It definitely focused a lot more on like the humanity, especially in the photojournalism section. Even the American soldiers were portrayed as human.
it was a very well put together museum.
And from there we went, actually we backtracked a bit to the Independence Palace. The Independence Palace was the President's Palace, and you see that famous photo of like the tank crashing through the fence in this building, like, to end the basically that ended the Vietnam War, and that was at the Independence Palace. So this really nice building. It's actually got bombed a couple times, but it was a very nice building. And part of me couldn't help thinking, it's like when your presidential palace is this nice, but everyone else is kind of poor. It says something, or like you can see the disconnect.
So you're going home, going back to the States. I know it was a quick 8 days. We packed a lot in. Lane and I are going to sleep a little bit. Overall impressions of Vietnam, what'd you think?
I mean, I really like my time here. The North and the South were very different. I'm sure the Central would be different as well. They'll find that out. He said it was a cool country, cool to get a very different perspective. 10 out of 10 would recommend.
What did you like the most about it?
Of course, being with y'all.
Great answer.
Good answer.
I think the guides were talking to the guides are the most was the most fun part, was the most interesting part, because it's always since I'm having in Colombia, I've gotten a lot more appreciation for just getting a feel for a place rather than just hitting at museums, which I do love, and generally it's not an either or thing, but talking to the guides was definitely really interesting, getting their opinions on a lot of things and seeing what they truly believed.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Mom and Dad, for letting this be a thing. We have said multiple times on this trip out loud to one another of how fortunate we are to have this opportunity for all three of us to be together, and we don't take it for granted. This was an unbelievable experience for the three of us to learn together and
learn a new city together.
Yeah, so thank you so much for letting him come and sending him our way, and this has been an amazing addition to our trip. Thanks for coming, Gooby.
Yeah. And now we have to go downgrade hotels.
Yes. As they say here in Vietnam, bye!
Bye!
Bye!